Hi, everybody. Welcome to our first monthly digital meeting. We are going to be looking at different ways to reach beyond the four walls of the classroom. And so I am super excited to be able to give you all some ideas because I know as a teacher, I sometimes felt really limited being in the classroom. And so I am ready to get started. If you guys need any further explanation on these tech tools or anything that you need me to come demo, please reach out. Feel free to schedule me and I'll come in and help you out with any of these tech tools. So a couple of housekeeping type of things. We are live on YouTube. You may not be watching live, but we are live on YouTube. Over here, I have where I can see the chat. So if you have any questions during the YouTube live video, then please just write in the chat box and I'll answer those questions. Also, if you don't see the chat box, that is because you are not officially signed into YouTube, and you will find that up at the top right-hand corner. You should be signed in, and then if you click that, your picture, your Google picture, it will actually have you create a YouTube channel, and you just click create. It just asks for your first name and last name, and you hit create, and then you'll be all signed into YouTube. So that is kind of how you get set up. So you can see this little chat box here. I guess I could show you this little chat box right here. So anyways, that's kind of funny that I'm showing myself live on something else. But anyways, so let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and screen share. And I'll show you where this resource is. All right, so when you go to the NC extension, you will click on the NC SR Tech Innovation website. So just click the backpack, and then that will take you to our website. This is all about inspired learning. That's kind of my goal this year. And so you will go to the hamburger menu here and down arrow inspired learning. And here you will see where it has monthly learning development, and here's our digital session. So this, when we get finished with this live hangout, then it will actually be here, and you can play it at any time or go back and rewind if you need to. The power of pause. You have that access as well. So the link to the presentation, though, is right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And I always like to use different types of tools in presentations. So this one I actually use Google Drawings. So if you're not familiar with Google Drawings, I know this is not a Google Drawing session. However, if you're not familiar with Google Drawings, it is a powerful tool when it comes to links and it comes to creating posters, and when you only need like one page. So you do get PD credit for this hour if you watch it. So you will click the sign in. That'll take you to a Google form, and that Google form will have you sign in, and you'll get a certificate of completion that you have watched this. And let's go ahead. So you'll notice, yeah, it's kind of funny. It looks like there's not much going on. We're inside of our classroom. However, we have all of these tech tools that we can actually use and utilize to reach outside of our classroom walls. So we're going to be going through as many as possible in the time that I have left with you guys. So we're going to actually start with Pen Pal Schools. Pen Pal Schools is Um, of course, we had pen pals, at least I did, but the pen pals were usually right down the hallway. Or it comes to mind like Flat Stanley. But this is on a worldwide scale. So if you click the logo Pen Pal Schools, you will, it is hyperlinked to the website, and it is free. So you will just sign up. I'm going to go ahead and log in since I already have an account. And so what Pen Pal School does is it takes topics, all different types of topics. So here are your topics or your projects that they call them. And not only do you have pen pals that could be across the world, but you all are talking about the same topic. And Pen Pals has put together these projects for students to join, and they have research, they have questions that the kids can answer. You do get paired with similar age ranges. So as you add your students as they join, then they'll get like an interest inventory. And so pretty cool little feature. They've actually done quite a bit of thought, put up quite a bit of thought into this. So if I click add student, you'll notice that it's almost like there's a code, just like in Google Classroom. You can see, so I chose the project meteorology and weather. I'm going to click view lessons. So this is what the kids will be watching and what they'll be talking about. So you can see that, and you could do this whole class if you wanted to, if you teach a younger grade. I did this at the very beginning of every writing class for the first 5 minutes. They got on to see if their pen pal had responded to them. And so it was a really big deal. Match day is super fun when you actually get to see who your pen pals are. Another really cool thing about this is they match you not with just one pen pal in case something happens, but they match you with several pen pals. And so the kids won't, hopefully they'll have questions. They'll have questions that they can answer back and forth with several people. So they get a little icon. You get to pick your little icon, your little avatar. So anyway, so this is what Pen Pal Schools looks like. They go in rotation, and that's the thing that always got me. They go in rotation. So like this one has the grades ages 8 and up. And normally, like if I click join this project, sorry, I don't have a principal's first name right now. Anyways, so you would enter your principal's first name in their email. It looks like this looks pretty new. Anyways, and then you just click send. And so then like the next lesson that comes up, may not start for another 2 weeks kind of thing. So they, like I said, and then you give them the code, the kids a code, and then they join your classroom, interest inventory. So pretty cool tool to get the kids talking about content with other kids from not just in their classroom. So that's the very first one, and that is Pen Pal Schools. All right, the next one was actually shown to me by Beth Crow at Cox's Creek, and I have shared this literati love around as I have presented at different things. And so literati, what I love about it is it started out as a passion project, and for those of you that know me, you know that I absolutely love passion projects. And so Literati it reminds me of like the rock hunting. However, it is all about picking up litter and logging using the Literati app of where you find that litter. And so there's some pretty cool map data, and you can explore these maps. But it shows like what countries have the most litter. So you can see that the United States has the most, in the most commonly tagged items is plastic. So in the app, it actually asks you to tag like what is your item, and it has you tag it, and that's how they can keep up with the most commonly tagged items. But how cool is it that it started out as a passion project, and look at all these supporters, like big name supporters. So I think that that's a pretty cool example to show the kids that they, even though they might be super small, they could make a big difference. So in these maps as well, let's see if I can bring up one of these. You can actually search our particular area. So you could search Bardstown, and you can see how many things have been found in Bardstown, how many pieces of litter have been picked up in Bardstown. The kids can search their neighborhoods and then compare them with maybe like bigger cities like New York or whatever it may be. So we're going to zoom into Bardstown, and you can see this is what it looks like. So it looks like there's been 2 tagged, and usually that's funny. They'll have a picture and they'll tag them, like I said, with whatever it may be. So, but anyways, so pretty cool way to get the kids, that you could incorporate science and social studies, math. You can also incorporate math. I could see that with the ordering and so forth of the most active countries and things like that when it comes to place value. I mean, you could do all kinds of things with this. So pretty cool little website called Literati. And so that is that. The next one is probably my favorite website on this whole presentation, and it's Google Arts and Culture. And Google Arts and Culture is a black hole. I can get lost in Google Arts and Culture in a matter of minutes because it is just so fascinating, all of the different information and the power of Google Arts and Culture. So what is Google Arts and Culture? Google Arts and Culture is a database that Google has put together of information, whether that be about artists or different types of art movements or historical events or historical figures. A lot of times and I know as with an elementary background, we have a hard time finding accurate information. And so, anyways, kind of cool that this could be used as definitely a search engine for your kids. They do have features, so you can see the different features, featured stories, and things like that on here. But one of my favorite things on here is the integration of Google Street View. So if I go to search Van Gogh, and I just picked an artist, but if I go search Van Gogh and I tell the kids, okay, we're going to look at Starry Night. So I can click on Starry Night, and here obviously is Starry Night, but the quality of being able to zoom in and actually see the brushstrokes, like if your art teachers are not using this, they should be. So we're going to let this clear up just a little bit. And so I could continue to zoom in, and you can actually see the brushstrokes and the different textures. So a pretty cool feature. But then, like I said, this one actually is integrated with Google Street View. anytime you see this little man down here, then that means that it has access to Google Street View. So I'm going to click on him, and it actually takes me to the museum that piece of artwork is at. So here I am standing in the Museum of Modern Art in New York, and here is Starry Night, and I can actually walk around, and I'm just on a Chromebook, but I can walk around and see all the different paintings, and you can see there's a couple of other Van Gogh paintings, but you can see Starry Night. So pretty neat feature that allows the kids to travel around without costing any money or having to fill out for buses and all that good stuff. So that is one of the neat features of Google Arts and Culture. If you scroll down, it'll also tell you some information about the piece. And then if it has anything that is additional, then it will it'll be within that as well. And then you can see there are some recommended other pieces. So 360 videos are really big. They're really big right now, just because they allow the kids to see a 360 view of what they're looking into. So you can actually, here's an example of what the 360 video, one of the 360 videos. Anytime you see this little guy right here, that means that you can use Google Cardboard with them. And so some of you all have access to Google Cardboard, but you can see here's a 360 video, and you'll notice that it's on YouTube, which is really cool because there is on YouTube, there is a place where you can filter and only show 360 videos. So what this allows me to do is, as this is playing, I can actually go around 360 degrees. So as the video is playing. So pretty neat feature. And like I said, this is something that can also be turned into cardboard, where you can see it with cardboard, with Google Cardboard. So Google Arts and Culture also leads you to 360 videos. Woo woo. Another one of my favorite things about Google is that they put out their experiments. They don't care if they're like epic failures. They just want feedback on things. And so I love to go through all of these different experiments that they have. But when I was in the classroom, my favorite one, we'll see how good the Wi-Fi is. My favorite one is called Free Fall. And that was my kids' favorite one too, because I let them explore these and check them out. And they actually taught each other what they've added some, but they've actually taught what each other what the different experiments were. And so free fall is basically where you have, well, it says thousands of artwork pieces in one space. And the kids, what I let the kids do is they click on the artwork. So here we go, we're falling. And every one of these are pieces of artwork. And I let the kids click on one. And when they click on it, it will zoom them in. And they can choose which piece of artwork they want to look at. But I have just a generic list of questions, writing prompt questions like, who do you think created this piece of artwork? What is the purpose of the piece of artwork? Where do you think this piece of artwork could be found? So just a bunch of generic prompts that would go with any of these pieces. And if they don't like one of them, then they can definitely click on another one. And down here, anytime you see this square with an arrow coming out of it, that means that you can go find more information on it. So here it takes me back to Google Arts and Culture, and here I can see a little bit more of information on it. So that, like I said, is a really cool one of my favorites in writing class. And I know this seems like a social studies thing, but like I used it in writing. So here you can see this is what the sphere looks like and the waves. The Wi-Fi is doing really good. And the same thing, the kids can turn these, and they just think that that's so neat that they can see all of them. So, but anyway, so just another fun aspect of Google Arts and Culture. And like I said, it really is the black hole, because you could get lost in the amazingness of Google Arts and Culture. All right, so that is a quick overview of Google Arts and Culture. The best thing to do is just to go and explore. The next tech tool we're going to talk about is Google Expeditions. And Google Expeditions usually deals with virtual reality. And so this will take you to a video based on like what Google Expeditions are. But here is a list of all the different expeditions that Google has out now. So you can see where they have put, and there are hundreds. Now, on the Weekly Nugget this week, this is a great opportunity to use Control F, which was on the Weekly Nugget. So if I hit Control F, and let's say I'm looking for Greece, because I'm doing a unit on Greece, then you can see it's found 1 of 11 times. And I can go through here and see if they have a name of the expedition. Now, you have to have Google Play Store or an iOS, an Apple phone to get the Google Expeditions app. It is an app, and you download it. And once you download it, like your kids, if they have their own phones, whether it's the Google Play, like it's Android or Apple, they can download Google Expeditions and then download what you want them looking at. So even if you don't have the VR viewers, there are ways around it. So if you need more information on that, make sure that you reach out. But basically, it takes them to the place. It teaches them. There's a way that the teacher can guide them through it, and so we're trying that out in a couple of classrooms without having to buy the really expensive kit. So anyway, so that's VR expeditions, your virtual reality expeditions. There are also augmented reality expeditions, and people often ask me what the difference is between the two. VR is an actual place, and augmented reality is when it looks like something is there, but it's really not. Like a dinosaur sitting on a table, like that can happen. And it looks like it on your phone, but it's not really happening. So anyways, so that's the difference between those. But Google has just brought out quite a bit of AR expeditions. So that is where you can find a list if you need more information, or like I said, or if you want me to come to your classroom and do this with your students, just holler at me. Next tool is Google Earth. And Google Earth, I know that we talked about a little bit about it at several schools last year, but just a refresher, Google Earth is a great tool to use for research as well. But it's also a great tool to use as a supplement to maybe a book that you're reading and you want to follow the character, and so you want to check it out. They already have voyages built for you, which is nice, because not always do we have time to build voyages. But anyway, so if you're curious about the voyages, that's right here with the little wheel, you just click on it and then you can see that there are different voyages, and they are adding to those quite often. So if I wanted to go on this voyage for whale sharks, over here is going to be our cards, our knowledge cards, and those just tell us about our tour. And so we can, anytime you see this guy, you can pick him up and drop him. So you see the little blue dots that have popped up. So I can drop him there and it'll actually enter us into Street View, which we talked about in Google Arts and Culture. So here you go. This was taken by someone, a 360 photo. It's not a very good 360 photo because it's got a lot of spots, but that's okay. So anyways, so pretty interesting. So that the kids would check this out here. This is, and sometimes there are videos up there, YouTube videos. And so it actually takes us and it travels around, and talks about whatever theme, like this one has a YouTube video, talks about whatever theme that you just entered for your voyage. This one is a great button. It's the I'm feeling lucky button. So anytime I go into a classroom and talk about Google Earth, I always have the kids roll the dice, and it takes them somewhere in the world. And this is another great opportunity to use generic writing prompts. And you could talk about habitats. And so you get a little bit of science in there. You could talk about, tell me, what would the kids need, or what would the people need in order to survive at this place of where you have landed. So anyways, once again, anywhere you see those dots or lines, blue lines, is where you can drop Pin Man down, and he will take you into Street View, and the kids can actually drop in and see what everything going on looks like. So, but anyways, some other great questions, just generic writing questions, could be, if you were the only person at this place, what would your needs be? What type of landforms do you see? Create a story based on you being in this setting. But the kids just have a blast with those type of things, because for one thing, they get to, roll the dice and land somewhere where they don't really know where they're going to be. And so anyways, this little guy is a bookmark, and he saves your places. So all the different places you may go if you need to save it and you don't want to have to find it again, that the kids can use this. This guy's nice, especially for the younger kids and the younger classes, because let's say I want my kids to visit the Eiffel Tower. So as the teacher, I go into Google Earth and go to the Eiffel Tower. And then the kids, I come down here to this share, and I can share the link, and it will take them through Classroom, and it will take them straight to the Eiffel Tower, and they don't have to worry about spelling Eiffel Tower and so forth. So, pretty nifty way to share. And then the newest button is the measuring tool. So cool. So you can zoom in, zoom out, whatever, but the kids can actually measure. So select a starting point and then select your ending point, and it'll tell you how many feet and all that good stuff. So you could do some different with meters, conversions, things like that. And so pretty neat that we now have a measuring tool, because that's pretty new. All right. So that's a quick run through of Google Earth. The next place that you and your students can go is they can use Google Lit Trips. And Google Lit Trips has been around a really long time. And it's not the friendliest and the easiest thing. However, it's so good. So the first thing that I always point out is like the how to get Google Lit Trips. If you watch this video, it will talk to you about like how to get them and what to do and stuff, because it's not just as easy as clicking a button, unfortunately. Like you have to request it and then you have to upload it in Google Earth and then you can share it with your kids. But it's so neat because they have grades K through 5, 6 through 8, 9 through 12, common book titles. And so like if I hit K through 5, you can see all of these book titles have been marked as a tour. So as you are reading this book, you could follow the character using Google Earth. And so they picked the most common books. And so like Bud Not Buddy, we've read that. And so like there's even some young ones in here. But like I said, it's a little bulky when it comes to actually using these. But it's still definite, and it's free. It is definitely doable, but you just have to request it and then they'll send you a file and then you upload the file into Google Earth and then you and your kids can follow the character around in your book. So that is Google Lit Trips. All right, the next guy, I kind of hesitated to put this on here, and the only reason being is because I have to use my phone, which is fine as long as it's still awake and still, oh yeah, we have a little bit of battery. Okay, so Google Street View, I've mentioned that a couple times. Google Street View does have a website, but its website is nothing like its app. So you click on, one of the highlighted, this one, like you can't search, which bothers me, but you click on one of these and they are, once again, 360 photos, and your kids can travel around as long as you have them pulled up. So this one's all about Nigeria. So, I mean, it's gotten better than what it was, but it doesn't have a ton of information here. Because they rely heavily on their apps. So let me pull up our Google Hangout. Let's see, that's not what I wanted. Possibly. There you are. Okay. So let me show you on my phone what Google Street View looks like. Because like I said, it is fabulous. The app is fabulous. So when you bring up Google Street View, this is what you get. Sorry, it's like backwards. I don't know if it's backwards on YouTube, but it's backwards on here. And the kids can actually, as long as you have an iPad, the kids can type in a place. So I just happen to have Thomas Nelson on here. So I type in Thomas Nelson, woohoo, and that allows me to actually see what it looks like. So I can like go into different places. So let me get this pulled up here just a second. It's taking forever to load. Okay. So I had to back out of Thomas Nelson. But here you have Explore. And this is like, these are featured ones. It's kind of like what was on the website. And you can click on them and there are different places. And then you have down here, this is what my favorite part of this whole thing is the little camera and the plus button. And the kids can take their own 360-degree photos. Yes, they can. It takes a while for them to take it, but it's so neat. So you can see all I have to do is line up the dot with that circle, which is kind of hard to do, but I'll try. And then it gives me more dots. And I keep going around and around and around, and there's a whole bunch of dots. But at the very end of it, they have a 360 photo, which is so cool. So the way that I had my students use this was as an introduction to personal narrative. So I sent them out in the school with iPads, and I said, okay. I said, I want you to go to your favorite place in our school, and I want you to take a 360 photo of it. And so then we were able to talk about the way that they felt when they were there, because, personal narrative's all about exploding a moment and exploding a time and so forth. So, but anyways, so they did that and they were so excited to write these little itty bitty personal narratives, like these practice personal narratives, just because I let them take a 360 photo. So anyway, so it wasn't much, but it was big. And then another way that I use the Google Street View app is I sent out a letter before fall break and spring break and Christmas break, like all the breaks. And I asked parents to get the app on their phone or have the kids get the app on their phone and have them take pictures, at least one 360 photo of what they did on break, whether it was they hung out at home or in their backyard and played outside, or if they actually went and traveled somewhere. And then the day that they came back to school, we looked at those photos and they could tell us a little bit about what they did over their breaks. So that's another way that I used Google Street View. But there are so many different things that you can do and so forth. On here, I guess I should show you guys this as well. But on here, one of the features of this is, like, here's the International Balloon Festival. Okay, so I have clicked International Balloon Festival. Oh man, it's so hard to do backwards. So here you go. And so the kids can actually drag it around and look at the 360 photo. But what's neat is up here at the top, if you see, there's a compass and then there's your Google Cardboard. So if you have access to Google Cardboard, you could hit that. However, if you don't, this little compass guy, when I move it around here, I don't have to drag it. As you can see, like, I'm just moving my phone around. So the little compass guy is pretty neat if you don't have cardboard and you don't want to click and drag and the kids think it's really cool that it's like they're standing there with the 360 photo. So that's another really fun thing that the kids can do in Google Street View. All right. So let's continue on. Let me go back to screen sharing. All right. Let's see. I want to make sure that we stay okay on time. All right. Next one we're going to talk about is Tour Builder. And Tour Builder is a Google product. And basically what it allows you to do is it allows you to create your own tour using Google Earth. And so here you would just click create a tour and you can, so we'll just name this. I think I've already made a couple of these. practice ones. So you would just click add a location, but you can add a photo. The kids can create these based on book characters, just like the lit trips that we talked about. They could create them if they're doing Native American unit. They could do it for Thanksgiving, the traveling of the pilgrims over to America. Like, they could do so many different things. But literally you just click add location and you start typing a location. So maybe I want to talk about my journey to, I don't really go anywhere. Hang on. I'm trying to think. I was like, oh yeah, I traveled from here to here to get to here to get, no, I've lived in Elizabethtown all my life. Didn't even go away for college. So, oh, speaking of college, here we go. Okay. So Elizabethtown College in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, woohoo. So then I would add this to the tour, and here you could add photos and videos like YouTube videos and tell things about it. So, so the kids add all these different locations. They add all these different locations, and when you get done, they can share them with you. And it looks just exactly like Google. You can invite people. You can share it through email, however, here's the link. They could post it in Google Classroom, whatever it may be. So pretty cool little exciting thing that, once again, is an experiment, but uses Google Earth. And you can see there's a little pin man, and you can drop him down and let the kids walk around and so forth. So, yeah, there's E-Town and the College Street. So anyways, all right. So that's Tour Builder. I know that was super quick, but it's pretty self-explanatory once you get in there and play around with it, because that's the best thing to do. All right, Google Hangouts. So this kind of goes with Twitter because, as many of you guys have probably heard, there are things called mystery Skypes, and where you do basically a teacher out on Twitter hashtags mystery Skype, and you Skype with a class, and it's almost like a challenge. And so what happens is you want to do a mystery Skype with at least one classroom from every state in the United States, is like the challenge that I challenged my kids with. But now we have Google Hangouts, and so Google Hangouts has kind of taken over that. But there's a whole community of people that do like mystery Hangouts, and you get in contact with a teacher that does them, and you have your students and they have their students, and you can only ask yes or no questions. And so it may be, does your state flag have a star on it? And they either answer yes or no. And then so your kids have to remember what their answer is, so they can try to narrow down what state that they live in. Because at the beginning of the mystery hangout, you do not tell them who you're hanging out with and where they're from. And so it's almost like a game. The kids absolutely love it. They learn a lot about the states, state nicknames. They learn about the landforms. I mean, it just depends what type of animals, that kind of thing. So you kind of have to check out Twitter for that, and for the hashtag. And so but that's how you do like mystery googly things. So another way that you can use Hangouts is to interview people. I had career chats with my 4th grade class. And so some of our career professionals, they were actually out of state. And so they just hung out. I sent a link and they hung out with my kids. So how do you set up a Google Hangout? You can go to hangouts.google.com and you would click that you want a new conversation, and you would enter in the person's name. So if I say I want to have a conversation with, I'll just pretend that it's my husband. So I click this, and then you send them the invite, and then once they accept it, there'll be a little video camera up here. So let me get one. Let's see. Drew hasn't accepted my invite. Yeah, I called you out, Drew. Okay. So Amy John, so here's the video camera. So you would just video call her from this way. You could do it that way, or you can actually share a link if need be. So that's one way that you can connect with people outside of our Nelson County schools. Or like we had a class last year where the kids were connecting with one another, and an elementary class and a high school class, and the high schoolers were teaching the elementary class French, the French language. And so pretty nifty, another really cool way to use Hangouts and just reaching beyond those four walls of your classroom. Flipgrid. Flipgrid offers something called Grid Pals, and Grid Pals are basically a conversation between you and another class, whether it's in your school or in your district or in the United States or around the world. And so what I've done here is I've linked a document on how to become a Grid Pal and how to find a Grid Pal, because this is pretty new. I've not had the chance, unfortunately, to do this. It's pretty new as of like a couple months. I've not had a chance to do this with a classroom. So if you are interested in doing this, I will definitely go alongside with you. So just reach out and let me know. Because I would love to do this with you. So what I understand is it's another Twitter thing, and you just look for Grid Pals on Twitter based on, if I go to Flipgrid, see, I was checking this out earlier. There is a map that has so here's Grid Pals that has everybody, and I can just kind of hover over them and see what their Facebook, if they have their contact Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever they have, and I can select their grades and their subject areas. So it's pretty cool. So you can narrow them down, and so it's not so overwhelming. And then you connect with them through whatever means they have posted on here on their profile. And you set it up for that class and your class to chat using Flipgrid. So pretty neat way to check those type of things out. All right, landlines. I actually was at Foster Heights the day that I learned about landlines. Like, I got so excited about it that I remember where I was and what time it was, and it's one of those. The kids' great explore wonder tool to bring in curiosity. So the kids can draw or drag. So if I want to draw, I can draw a short line, and what Google does is it brings up a place in the world that has that line somewhere in the world. So you can see this West Falkland and Falkland Islands. If I draw a circle, so now I'm in Dubai. If I draw a straight line, sometimes it'll match me to roads. So here I am in Florida. But you're like, Jamie, okay, what's the educational content of that? They can actually click down here. So let's do a different one than Florida. Oh, Arizona. So they can click down here and it will actually take them to Google Maps, and they can drop down. So here's Pegman. So as long as you find one of those blue dots, so I don't see any blue dots. So what I tell my kids to do if they don't see any blue dots is just to zoom out until they see some. So it looks like there's a highway. So we may have discovered that. Oh, okay, here we go. So I can drop them down and, oh, look, there's mesas and so forth. So this actually turned out to be a pretty cool one. But anyways, so that's how landlines can be educational in wondering, in inspiring kids. So the drag, what that does is I normally say, okay, we're going to drag for 20 seconds. And 20 seconds is a long time, but you just say, okay, we're dragging. And so I'm just literally taking my finger and we're dragging. And then I say freeze. And wherever it is the place that they have to research and tell me about. And so that's how that works. All right. Let's see. Okay, let's do one more. Let's do, this one's pretty self-explanatory. This is called Smarty Pins. It's a trivia game. I'm horrible at trivia, I'm not gonna lie. It's a trivia game. So let's go to GeoGuessr. So GeoGuessr basically drops you off somewhere in the world, and you have to figure out by inferencing where you are. And so that is what I tell my kids to do, but it's a game because you come over here to the map, another great way that they know their continents instead of a worksheet. Sorry, I'm saying that because of my own personal child that came home with a worksheet of trying to learn the continents. So anyways, you guess where you think it is based on just things that you see, whether it's, and the kids pick up on this really quick. They're like, that's not our language. Our architecture doesn't look like that. And you can, move around and so forth. And so you can guess where this is. So I click make a guess, and then I click make a guess. And oh, the closer that you are, the more points you get. And so you play this like so many rounds and so forth. So that's how GeoGuessr works. Now, GeoSetter, I'm so excited that it just came back. GeoSetter is where you actually put the places, put the marks in, and then share them. Oh, that's so mean. They just brought it back up. Okay, so I guess I need to take that off of there because they just brought them up. Like I just showed that in July. So anyways, so that one was almost like Tour Builder, where you would set up where you want the kids to go, that kind of thing. And then the kids would have to find out where they were based on where you had dropped them. So, but anyways, maybe one of these days it'll come back again. We'll have the comeback. So, all right. So we are getting towards the end of our hangout. And so hopefully you have some new tools in your back pocket that you can check out and use in your classrooms. If you missed out on at the beginning, please reach out if you need anything or have any questions over these tools. And as always, I would love to collaborate with you in implementing these tools in your classroom. So hope you enjoyed our very first Inspired Learning digital monthly meeting. Until next month. See you guys, Nelson County.